Hello, this is Tytti and Associate Trainer for Art2Ride, and here is an in-hand lesson with Rach and her horse Dusty. So here we're just starting out, and I'm just sorting out with Rach how to put your hands and how to just start the whole process. And here we go. And I'm just correcting here, like how she should keep her inside hand on the rein, and here we go again. Let's start up again. So it was a really nice day, but there were a couple of flies about, and Dusty was a little bit irritated at times about them flying about him, as you can see there. And it's going pretty okay, but Dusty is a little bit resistant to wanting to yield, so to say. So he kind of gets quite heavily leaning on you at times, and it's not very easy. He's not a very easy horse to start the in-hand work with, so to say. So hence the lesson. And he just has not learned how to yield, so to say. He's a really nice chap and very calm and lovely horse altogether, but he just hasn't learned how to yield, so to say. So he just tries to go more forward instead of sideways, and he kind of blocks you at times. So it's a lot of hard work in the beginning with him to make him understand what you want from the in-hand work. But Rach is here doing pretty good job here. She's staying pretty much at the shoulder area with herself, and she has pretty okay control of her hands and so on. It's just that Dusty is not the easiest horse to start this journey with in-hand work. So here I'm just observing how it goes here, and just giving advice if that is needed. So in the beginning I would just do what she's doing here, is just walking around and see how it goes, and after a while then I would start asking for some lateral steps to kind of facilitate the stretch more, so to say, and the engagement over the back. And here I'm just noting that when you take contact, you should take the contact upwards, like that. You should bring your inside hand towards the throat of the horse, so that you get the contact on a corner of his lips, rather than. So you should not pull your inside hand downwards or sideways or anything like that. And you should try to avoid pulling anyway on the rein. You should just take a slight contact when you need to, and the contact should be more upwards if the horse's head is going up. And here we are trying, here she's trying to ask for a yield from him. But it's not working as well as it could. He's perhaps yielding a little bit with his inside hind leg there, but it's not very much. And so here you see the problem, so to say, with him, is that he doesn't yield, because I think he just doesn't understand the idea yet. So that's basically the only problem here. Otherwise he's working really nicely, except that he's not stretching and really utilizing his back very much here, obviously. But but to get there, there is just that, I think, the lack of understanding from him, like what do we want with him. So he just needed to be shown very clearly that what it is that we want. So now I take over, and I'll see if I can help him out to understand what we need. I'm just gonna borrow her gloves here as well. So I forgot my gloves in the car, so I just have gloves on me. So here we go. Let's see what I can do, how he feels. It's always good for me when I'm giving a lesson. It's good to feel how the horse is. If something is not happening, then it's a good idea to take over and just have a feel how he is. So as I say, he's kind of leaning on me with his shoulder. So, and he's very kind of heavy on me. So at the moment, at first I started using my hand on his shoulder to just ask him to move over and not come into me. And here I just decide to stop altogether. And I just want to see him yield his inside hind leg, and I needed to totally block him from going forward, because he was just, if I asked him this in motion, he was just pushing into me and doing nothing basically. He just understood that if you use the whip as an aid, it means go forward. He didn't understand that it means, okay, I need to yield sideways. And here I finally get what I wanted, which is to just step across a little bit and with the inside hind under himself, and that's what I wanted. So it took a little bit of time for him to understand the meaning of this aid, of the whip at the side where the leg would go, so to say. So now I just go again in motion, and I'll see if that kind of translates into when he's moving. So here you can see me going in front of the shoulder, because I wanted to block him from him to just escaping forward around me, so to say, without yield. So that's why I went right in front of him, so to say, with my body language. And then when I get a slight yield, at least something, then I kind of release everything. And here's the same thing. And I feel like I need to use a little bit more than just the whip. So I'm just tapping with my hand on his shoulder as well at the same time. See if that helps at all. And here is kind of a little better, but you can still see that his inside hind leg there was the first step that went a little bit across in a yield. But he just finds it really hard to give me that yield. And then of course, once he had given that one step, I'm just removing all pressure and just let him think about it. And as you could see, he stretched there quite nicely. And here we go again. I'm asking the same thing. I block him with my body and ask him to go over with his inside hind leg, and there was a little bit more there. And I'm also using my hand on his shoulder, and there he's starting to yield. He's starting to go across. So indeed my hand aid is just tapping on his shoulder, just to make it really clear to him, like, I don't want you to lean on me, and you should just yield for me, please. And it is hard work for me, and he's quite heavily so to say, leaning. He's not unlike Pöly in the beginning, I think. So what do I do now is like, okay, he's not giving me space. He's not very effective going straight and trying to yield from the straight line, so to say. So I decided, okay, let's see if a small circle will help instead of trying to ask him to yield. So I'm asking him to go around me, and it did actually help a lot better, and you can see that he is now stepping under and across better. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to do a couple of smaller circles and then see if he wants to stretch after that and start really engaging himself better. And that works a lot better. As you can see, he's now starting to stretch more after those smaller circles. And so I'm just gonna, here I'm trying the same thing. I just did two circles, and I thought, okay, let's see if you want to yield on a straight line, and he didn't. So I went immediately after I realized, like, okay, this is not working. I again did the small circle, and that works. As you can see, he's now starting to stretch and engage better. So what seems to work with Dusty here to help him to engage himself and work in the in-hand is that smaller circle. So if you just do a small circle every time you feel like he's not engaging and he's not working well, you just go into a smaller circle, ask him to step across around you for one, and then just let him stretch down, and you walk straight around the whole arena, so to say. And every time he goes up and doesn't quite listen to the so to say the simpler or more straightforward aids, then do a small circle and just continue. And I think here I was asking him to pick up a little bit more pace, because obviously the smaller circle will slow him down a little bit, especially in the beginning like this. And yeah, you want to just not forget the activity, so to say. And here I think I got a couple of steps of yield or something in the straight there, so that was pretty okay. And here I did a small circle again. And this indeed, the small circle work does not work with all horses in the beginning like this, but with him it does work. So you just this is another example of you have to adapt to the horse you have with the training. It's all the idea still stays the same, that you want to engage the back and the core, and that's facilitated by the horse stepping more under himself, under and cross like that, and then that helps the stretch to come more down and forward, and that again helps the horse to engage the core and work the muscles better. So sometimes you need to have these smaller circles with the horse, and sometimes it works just as normally as you just go around the arena and have and do a little bit of leg yield from the small from the short side to the long side, and you get the stretch. So it really is kind of individual what works there. So that was really good work from Dusty. He kind of we didn't have to fight with him, so to say, to get that stretch when he goes into when you work him in a smaller circle every now and then, as you saw there. And here we're gonna change the rein, and I just start with that again and see if this side is any different, because sometimes one side is a lot easier than other side, and so on. I'll just go straight for a smaller circle, and it works really well with him. There's a bit of flies that he has to he gets annoyed with there, and you just allow it. Obviously you don't want, it's irritating to have flies, so it's no use trying to kind of block the horse from well, flicking away the flies. So that's okay, one can allow that. So as you can see here, every time he's kind of not engaging himself properly, I just pick up more contact, or I pick up the contact, and I just ask him to come into a smaller circle and and step a little bit across, yielding with his inside hind leg. And every time I have done a circle, then I'll just start going around the whole arena and see if he wants to stretch. And as you can see, I'm bringing my inside hand a little bit upwards if he lifts his head high, and I just see if that works with him kind of coming back to the stretch and working through his body better. So here we go. If you can see us at some point again, there we go. So now you notice that when he's stretching, and then when he's working fine, I relax my inside hand. I kind of relax both hands, and you just give the rein, so to say. And you can see here the method of using the outside hand to keep the horse going more kind of straighter, so to say, that the horse doesn't overbend with his neck. So that's also important. Even if you do those smaller circles, you kind of want to avoid the horse from really overbending with the neck, because that's not what you want. And he tends to overbend a little bit easier on this hand, so that's why I lift my outside hand over there, as you can see, over the withers. I'm just taking contact with the outside rein and asking him to straighten up with the neck, so that he's walking straight, like there you see again. And just every now and then I lift it and I kind of control the outside and make sure that he comes straight with his neck. Like there you see, I'm just directing him to not to stay along the fence line here, so to say, more or less, that he doesn't just come into me, he doesn't just overbend his neck towards the inside or cut off the way we're going. And here I'm just asking him to yield from a straight line, and that works a bit better on this hand, it seems, because I did not do a small circle after that, so that was okay. So with him, you can try those small circles that work really well. That work really well with him. It kind of counteracts he's kind of wanting to lean into you with the shoulder, but if you do that small circle and ask him to kind of step across, that is kind of eliminated by the circle, so to say, that he does not start leaning on you if you do the small circle like that. He gives you space and he steps across, so it's all positive, so to say. And then it's just important that after the small circle you go straight and you make sure that his neck straightens up and it's not overbending afterwards. And obviously you have to give the reins so that he can stretch down without so that you would not by accident block him in any way from the stretch. And then of course you should also add in the activity, that he will start striding better and with more energy, and that all will then build his muscle eventually. So that's a very, very nice stretch there. He could be a little bit more active, but that's all. But that's pretty good. And here I had to again control the outside rein, and I'm just asking him to just picking up a little bit of contact and asking him to stay straight and not lean on me, basically. So here we go. That was I was very pleased that I kind of found a way how to help with the in-hand and kind of solve the problem how to handle Dusty and his in-hand work. So, and I think I was explaining here how far I saw the muscle starting to kind of engage, and I think I can't quite remember how far it came, but I think it came to somewhere around the saddle area, so it was activating quite far. Obviously, optimally, you want the muscle to start moving all the way to the wither, and work all the way there. And yeah, I was just explaining here as well that you are allowed to use your hand on the shoulder, just tapping with the hand, or the elbow if it's, because he's a very heavy leaner, and if you don't yeah, sometimes the whip aid is not enough, so to say, because you don't want to hit or slap with the whip either. So the best way to work if the whip does not kind of have a good enough effect is to just use your hand or your elbow, and eventually you don't have to use that. Obviously, eventually the horse will be kind of more sensitive to your aids and so on, and so on, and it's not easy in the beginning to coordinate your whip hand, especially if it's a hand you're not using, if it's not your dominant hand, so to say. If you're right-handed and you have the whip on your left hand, it is not necessarily very easy to coordinate it in the beginning. So it may be easier to use your elbow at that point, and when you get more fluent with the technique and your coordination of your whip hand gets better, then you can just stop using your elbow and just go on and use your whip only. And I also told Rach about need to control the outside rein on this hand so that he stays straight and won't overbend his neck. So that's what Rach is here kind of practicing, just keeping the outside rein. So we talk a lot about the inside rein, that you should remember to lift your inside hand when the horse's head goes up and so on and so forth, and give with it. But the outside rein is obviously just as important, and with some horses it's even more important to keep the contact every now and then and control the outside rein, so to say, more than with other horses. And especially with him, it's important on this right hand side, because of his tendency to just yeah, overbend his neck to the inside. And here she got a really nice stretch for a moment, and now the activity is a lot better. It's a lot better there, yeah. He's a bit more active, and that's just about what you need. So as you notice that when your hand is over there, the outside hand is over there above the withers, or even on the outside of, on the other side of the neck, so to say, you can't really use your whip anymore effectively. So what you need to do is is to control the outside, and then bring your hand back to the behind the so to say below the withers on the near side, so to say, and then use your whip. So that's the one thing about controlling the outside rein, is that you have to do it, you have to kind of control and then return your hand back to the normal position, so to say, so that you can use your leg aid, which is your whip, so to say, or your hand if you are somehow not coordinated enough yet with the whip. And as you saw there a while back, I was just discussing, I was just showing how far his muscle was starting to move along his back. So you can kind of see it going, probably not so well in this video. It's always more difficult to see from video what is happening with the muscle and so on, but it was moving very nicely, I think just under the saddle area or thereabouts. So this is going pretty well. At least it's not leaning on her here at all. And it's working pretty well. She just needs to control every now and then the outside rein, as she does there, so that he won't come into her or cut her off that badly, or just start overbending the neck. So this is pretty nice work now, and it's amazing that he can be worked in a grass school, because this would definitely not work with Palu. He would want to eat all the time and would get us all annoyed by that. But he's a very nice chap, and I very much enjoyed meeting Rach and Dusty, and it was a nice afternoon, and it looks going very well, and she should just remember to do those small circles every now and then if she feels that he's not wanting to yield for her, and that should work okay. And maybe in time he can start to do leg yield better from straight lines. So that was our session for that day, and I hope that helped everybody, and until next time, bye.